What's up, y'all? It's your man Ernest, or you love Ernest, back again with another episode of the Ernest Thoughts Podcast, another late upload. I'll get into all of that. Pretty much last week, it was two things. Number one, I mean, you already should know by now if you've been subscribed to the podcast. If you even been subscribed for a few months, you should already know by now. I'm a busy man. This podcast is not the only thing that I do. I have a job. I'm going to school, which I will be graduating in a few months. So that will take a load off of my schedule as far as school work and all that wise. But then there's work after school. Finding jobs after school that's related to my field at least. The job that I have now, the other things that I do now. Sorry, and the work that I do for myself. So last week, all last week was kind of crazy, but the weekend for sure. Um, there was no way that I could have scheduled in time for this podcast to record this podcast last week, and simply because um I was busy with schoolwork. It's a big project that I had to do, working on that. Um sorry, let me I don't know I'm not sick or anything, so it's just one of those you need to clear your throat. But also Spotify, the various changes they were doing, right? I didn't have this issue with this podcast, but my other podcast, the My Two Cents podcast, there was issues with trying to log into that account so I could record for that. That became a thing. So then it just was like, now I got to focus on talking to Spotify about what the heck they're doing with these changes. And everything is swell now, or at least it seems to be, fingers crossed. But yeah, I didn't have the time last weekend to do this podcast, but I'm here now. And you're like, well, why are you recording it on Good Friday? Happy Good Friday for y'all. Because again, throughout the week, didn't have the time. I was doing other things at the time. And by the time it was time for me to settle down, it was time for me to go to bed so I can wake up the next day and do what I do during my days. So I'm here now though. Better late than never. And I'm here to talk about my thoughts on altcoins. Now, I'm big into Bitcoin, cryptocurrency in general. That thing, if you're not interested in that and you want to learn more, then obviously feel free to continue to listen. But also, I feel like you do your own research. Now, reach out to me and ask me questions all you want, but I'm going to most likely send you links and channels and things to read and all this stuff, and they're all free. I'm not going to give you any courses, anything where you have to pay to actually listen to. Now, if the content creators create Patreon, it's your choice, like with everybody's Patreon, if you want to subscribe to it or not. But for the most part, they do actually create free content that is just as beneficial as probably the stuff that you're paying for at the premium level, whatever they decide to do. I don't pay for the stuff, but I've learned a lot from the free lessons that I've got from the people that I follow and the things that I've read. I got PDFs that I read, from time to time, that to keep my mind sharp on things regarding this, regarding cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies in general. I will love to share those PDFs with you. Again, free of charge. Just send me your email and I got you, you know? But I've talked about altcoins before, and my mind hasn't changed much about altcoins and meme coins in general. For those who don't know what altcoins are, they're just alternative coins, short for alternative coins, being meaning the alternative to Bitcoin, as in Bitcoin is the main big daddy, if that's how you want to call it. I guess the main big cryptocurrency, that the one that has the highest value, Bitcoin, and then everything else can be seen as viewed as an alternative to Bitcoin. Like Ethereum is an alternative to Bitcoin. Solana is an alternative to Bitcoin, or some other coin is an alternative to Bitcoin. So when I use the term altcoin, or if you hear the term altcoin, just know that just simply means alternative to Bitcoin, you know? And just know that Bitcoin is the main daddy. So that's not a term that they use. That's a term that I just use right now. But if that's something that you want to, if that's going to make it easier for you to understand the difference between Bitcoin, that's not the only difference being the price difference between Bitcoin and these altcoins. It's not the only difference between Bitcoin and alts or Bitcoin and memes. There's a lot of other differences, and again, I highly suggest um that you reach out and find more information or subscribe to the people that I follow and get that information because they will tell you better than I can. But I'm giving my updated, well, they're not necessarily updated thoughts, but I'm speaking about this again. Number one, I spoke about Bitcoin a couple weeks ago, right? We know the Bitcoin rally is happening like crazy, or at least us in within the space, we know what's going on, or at least people who are from the outside looking in who don't necessarily want to, they don't know if they want to dip their toe in and whatever, they understand what's going on with Bitcoin right now. The big, rally that's been going on, and there's been some downs. It's kind of down today, as from what I am. This time I'm recording it, but it's higher than it was a couple weeks ago when it was on like what 52,000 per coin. Now it's about 69. Hey, 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 nice. But no, it's about 69 or 70-ish now. I can literally look on my phone because I follow this stuff literally multiple times a day. And that's the one difference that I am going to bring up as opposed to when I talked about this the last time. But I'll get into that. But altcoins, just my thoughts haven't changed. And for those who are wondering, what are my thoughts on altcoins is the Bitcoin maximalists or the Bitcoin maxis, they're gonna hate me for this. They're gonna get mad at me for this. And there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis that I follow. In fact, out of the, I want to say five people that I follow on a daily or almost on a daily, four of them are Bitcoin maxis. One of them isn't. I share the same mentality as the fourth individual, or whatever, the one individual that I follow about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We value Bitcoin more than we do the other cryptocurrencies. We hold more Bitcoin than the other cryptocurrencies that we may have in our portfolio. But Bitcoin isn't the only cryptocurrency or the only investment because even the maxis get upset when you call Bitcoin a cryptocurrency. So I'm going to just call it an investment, right? Bitcoin isn't the only investment that we hold in our portfolio, And again, four out of the five people that I follow religiously within this space are Bitcoin maxis. They say they are, which pretty much means that everything within their portfolio is Bitcoin. 100% all of their investments are in Bitcoin. They don't hold, ETH, Solana, BAT. They don't have any meme coins. They don't have anything that's not Bitcoin. If it's not Bitcoin, if it's not BTC, they don't have it. You know what I'm saying? So that is what a Bitcoin maximalist is. Someone who just is all in on Bitcoin. I don't think that it's a bad thing to be that, but I also don't think a lot of those maximalists, even the ones that I follow and the ones that I don't follow, but I've heard them speak about Bitcoin and why they're Bitcoin maxis, a lot of them don't necessarily see the reason why altcoins are a thing. They know half of the story. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like altcoins are like every single altcoin is legit because it's not. And that's a thing that I've said in the past, and I'm going to continue to maintain that right now. Not every single altcoin is legit, meaning that the people behind it, right? Because there's no Bitcoin CEO. There's someone who invented Bitcoin, but there's no Bitcoin CEO. These other things are kind of like stocks, you know. These altcoins, they're kind of like stocks. Like a stock, like if you take stock within a business, that business has a CEO. If you are going to purchase, within these altcoins, there's a CEO for that altcoin. So in that sense, that's why I say I liken it to purchasing stocks, and just like with the stock market, it's very volatile. This field of cryptocurrencies is very volatile as well. But you can manipulate the stock market. So if altcoins are just like stocks and you can manipulate the stock market, you can manipulate the altcoin market. And that's just the truth. That's the truth that, you know, altcoin lovers probably don't want to admit to. They don't want to see. As someone who, again, has investments within altcoins, that is something that I know can happen to the altcoins that I have. That they can be manipulated into a way to that doesn't obviously benefit me. And if I was smart enough or even evil enough to manipulate them, I can manipulate them to ways that does benefit me. You know, you can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't manipulate. Yeah, there are people who sell off and try to devalue it, but Bitcoin over the time has stand the test of time and has shown time and time again, you can't manipulate me. Like I am unmanipulatable. If that is, if that is even a word, it is not a word. But Bitcoin has stand that test of time. Altcoins, and definitely not meme coins. Now, for those who are probably going to be like, "What's on your portfolio?" I'm not going to tell you anything that I have on my portfolio outside of Bitcoin. I'm not a maxi though, so that means I do have other things. I don't have any memes though. And that was the same as last time. I don't have any memes, but I feel like I'm going all over the place. So let me talk about altcoins first and then get on to the rest of what I was going to say regarding this topic here. So again, altcoins. My thoughts on alts. Not everyone you can trust, but not everyone is bad. And as I was stating before, I feel like a lot of the maxis out there don't see, especially the ones that I follow. I feel like the maxis that I follow, if they're not what rich enough to buy Bitcoin at $69,000, at least, at the very least, it's 69K. If they're not, they're speaking from someone coming from a standpoint that just easily can just buy $69,000 worth a Bitcoin. So if you're speaking from someone with that much of wealth and you're saying, oh, they're shit coins, that's the term that they use to describe altcoins and memes. They call them shit coins, not Bitcoin shit coins. And again, a lot of it is shit. I ain't gonna front. I don't take offense when people are like, oh, you got shit coins or you got this, that, and the third, or these are shit coins, and the only, again, the big daddy or the only one of value is Bitcoin. I don't take offense to it, period. Number one, it's my investments. It's not hurting you at the end of the day. You're saying it is hurting you simply because Bitcoin's not the only thing that within this market that people can invest in. Yes, will the price of Bitcoin be astronomical right now if Bitcoin was the only thing? Let's just say it was just stocks, gold, silver, Bitcoin. If that was it, if it wasn't stocks, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and this is not the order of things of what's more value. I'm just saying the order of, just investments, what folks can invest in, right? Stocks, land, because that's another investment. Stocks, land, um, gold, silver, Bitcoin, altcoins, meme coins, right? These are just and there's probably more things. I'm no investor. I am an investor, but I am not in financial like advisor. That's the term I'm saying. If you buy into any of these things, guess what? You're an investor. You don't need to go to a school to buy into Bitcoin or these altcoins. And don't get into meme coins, but do whatever the heck you want to do with your money. That I just gave y'all a glimpse of my thoughts on meme coins, right? But if you want to do that, you don't need a degree and all that. You just need a bank account. You just need some money. Yeah, I use my PayPal to invest in stuff. So if you've ever donated to the PayPal, or if you think about donating to the PayPal, I appreciate you. That money goes to my Bitcoin investments, my altcoin investments and stuff. And I've used it here and there for other stuff, but my bank account usually goes to my other responsibilities, my banks. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the one individual who did sign up to the Ally Bank when I was doing the promo. I appreciate you for doing so. Everyone else got annoyed by it, but that one person obviously started with the best bank that I've ever banked with. So y'all missed out. But anyways, you know, there's no link for it in the description box below, people. Not anymore. Like I said, that ended March 1st, so at the beginning of this month. So if Ally reaches out again and wants me to do that again, I would be glad to do so. But as far as just how I invest, again, I use PayPal. But we're not talking about my investment journey. That's for another topic for another time if we ever do so. We're here to just talk about my thoughts on alts and just, other things I wanted to mention here if I don't forget to do so. So again, I feel like the maxis, although they the maxis are great to watch because they give me hope. They give me hope for and it's not just them, it's what I've seen myself within my own portfolio. But the maxis give me hope that you can go all in on this one coin called Bitcoin and still have life-changing wealth, and still, create a future for yourself that you can't do with fiat or whatever other world currency that isn't Bitcoin and altcoins and stuff. Yes, I still believe you can change your situation with these alternative coins. Is it going to be as drastic as Bitcoin? No. No coin is as big as Bitcoin. But at the same time, that does not mean that investing in these other coins cannot get you financial gains. Now, in the long run, will it do as well as Bitcoin? Only time will tell, but it's looking like no. It's looking like no, not for a number of these quote unquote shit coins. A number of these quote unquote shit coins. And I forget the percentages. I think I heard the percentages about which the percentages of the altcoins, which ones of them are actually worth a damn. If I had to make my prediction, and again, this is just the earnest prediction, which means that it don't mean shit. A earnest mathematical prediction, let me put it that way, because all my other predictions mean a lot. But an earnest mathematical prediction, it don't mean nothing. Take it with a grain of salt, a spoonful of salt, but like take it with a grain of salt. I think that maybe about 70% of altcoins aren't worth a damn, you know? And what I mean by aren't worth a damn, I think that they're not going to amount to any type of substantial, uh, financial growth. If you want to make a couple dollars here and there, a couple $100 here and there, then play around with them. Again, I think that's 70% of alternative coins, which leaves 30% of the market. I do believe if you choose wisely, if you do your research on which altcoin is actually worth a damn, you're not going to make life changing wealth like if you were to invest in Bitcoin, but you can make a bit of money that can be a great springboard out of paying off debts. You can pay off debts with altcoins. You can use that good chunk of change, and it's not even, and I say change, it's more than that, but you can use that good amount of money that you make off of investing in the right altcoins to invest in the Bitcoin and make so much more money than you do had you had that money just sitting in an altcoin. Because even the right altcoins won't produce as much of a value as Bitcoin. Again, the big daddy, you know? So it's just it's all about perspective and how you're going to look at this thing and how you're going to play these things out is how I view it. Another way of how I view it, as I was saying, a lot of the maxis are coming from privileged backgrounds and privileged standpoints. Let me just put it that way. If they're not coming from a privileged background where they already had like I was about to cuss, but freaking at least 70K within their bank account by the time they was moving out their parents' house. And then as they got older, because a lot of these people are in their 40s and stuff, my age, 30s, 40s and stuff. A lot of these maxis, I think the youngest maxi that I follow, she's like 20 something. But still, her father owned a business. Her father was the one that got them into Bitcoin and all this other stuff because he owned a business, or he still owns a business. And I'm not saying that this is the richest woman ever. She lives outside the United States. I forget what country. Um, I think it was Chile. I think it's Chile. I think she's from Chile. Either way, I know her story a bit, or at least I remember it from when I saw her on the Orange Pill podcast. That's one of the podcasts that I follow. Love the Orange Pill podcast. Love the host Graham Elwood, Max, and forgetting the lady's name, and I really like her too. That sucks. But I love Max Kaiser, Graham Elwood. Um, and the third host, I'm forgetting her name, but lovely woman. But yeah, she was a guest on the Orange Pill podcast, and again, I believe she's from Chile. But it's like if you have the money, plus also their market is different from obviously from the United States. The value of Bitcoin goes up everywhere when it goes up in the US, but obviously we're basing it, or at least me, I'm basing it off USD, United States dollar, US currency, whereas she's basing it off of her native country's currency or whatever country she resides in now if she's not in Chile or wherever she's in now. And same goes for any other nation outside of the United States. They don't measure Bitcoin in USD, they measure it in whatever their currency is, obviously. But it goes up. Now, if it goes up in India, it goes up in the US, it goes up here, it goes up here, it goes. So it's like it benefits the world, the all of the investors in the world, all the holders, the hodlers, right? That's another term. If you see the word hodl, 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 it pretty much means hold. You know, um, it's an acronym for hold on dear for dear life. You know what I'm saying? Hodl. It's not hostile, but hodl. Hold on for dear life. So it just means all the holders out there, all the people who, like myself, because I'm a hodler. All the people who have Bitcoin and they have it in their cold wallet or hot wallet, or they have a storage of Bitcoin, even if the folks who I guess have ETFs. They're if they still have that, they're hodlers too. But that's another term that you're gonna learn. That you're going to hear if you're going to get into this. But hodlers are just, again, people who hold on to it. It benefits all the hodlers in the world, all the investors, all the hodlers in the world, that if it goes up, that that's the beauty of it, is everybody is going to benefit from it. Um, but what the point I was getting at before is a lot of my uh maxi friends, if I were to call them that, um, they come from very either privileged backgrounds, or they have that money. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to come from a privileged background, but if you have $69 and 60, I hope you have $69 in the bank right now. And if you need, if you don't, or if you do, hold that. You know what I'm saying? Hold that $69. But if you come from 69,000, 69K, right? If you have at least 69K in your if you had two times that, let me put it that way. Two times, three times that. or even just that 69K within your bank account right now, and you're telling people, well, don't invest in these other coins, I understand. And that you have so much faith and love in Bitcoin that you don't want to, you feel as though you're steering people within the wrong way if you tell them to go into the alt market. But you can just simply do what I was just doing a couple minutes ago when I told folks, anybody willing to listen right now, that I believe that, and again, I don't know the numbers. This is an earnest prediction, but 70% of anything being bullshit is alarming. Excuse my French, but keeping it real. 70% of anything not being worth a damn is a problem. But don't discount that 30% because that 30%, there are gems within that 30%. And as I was stating before, if you make the right investments, you make them right, you do the research and stuff, because there are people who will tell you what these gems are. I know these gems as well, or at least some of these gems. Um, I know about them. So you make those investments, you only invest in those alternative coins, but you forget the rest, you forget the other 70%, you forget the rest, you will do well. You will do well. And again, you're not, and it's not going to be a situation to where you are going to um it's not going to be a super, like, it's not going to be to the magnitude if you have alts and Bitcoin or just simply just hodled Bitcoin. But you will make a good enough money that is more than a couple cents here or there, and definitely more than a couple $100 here and there as well within the alt market. When I big up alt, it's not because of, it is because of me, but it's also because of, I'm thinking of my family, I'm thinking of my friends, I'm thinking of my subscribers, I'm thinking of the individuals that I know for a fact who don't have 79 or even $69,000 within the bank. They don't have that much money to purchase one Bitcoin. Now you can buy fractions of Bitcoin. They're called Satoshis, named after the inventor of Bitcoin. Satoshi, I'm a butcher his last name, but I believe is Nakamura, the last name. All right, but his first name is Satoshi, right? So Satoshi Nakamura. If I mispronounce his last name, I apologize. But Satoshi, right? Um, the smallest amount or the fractions you can buy fractions. I own Sats, own a lot of Sats, and I have fractions of Bitcoins. That's worth a lot of money. I'm not gonna give y'all the price, but it's worth something. It's worth a damn. Let me just put it that way. It's worth a damn. Now, your worth a damn versus my worth a damn might be different. You might look at my investment like, that's not a lot of money. That's not, I want 50 billion million gazillion. All right, then Satoshis aren't worth a damn for you. But as I was stating in the last video when I talked about Bitcoin, I'm gonna say it here again. I'm not here to pressure anybody to get into any market to make investments that I make. You want to know why? More for me. And I'm looking at it from the selfish standpoint, and I'm going to keep doing that. If you're too good to purchase a fraction of this thing, that it's better to own a fraction of Bitcoin than it is to own none Bitcoin at all. And this is for the people who just have all alts as well, because I remember when I was first getting into this space, there was folks who were like, oh, I'm staying away from Bitcoin, I'm just going to get alts. Even I, at the time, before I knew what a Bitcoin maxi was, before I even had Bitcoin for myself, I was like, eventually, because at one point I was just getting alts simply because they were they were a lot cheaper than they were Bitcoin. But I got into it fairly late, as in I got into Bitcoin 2020, 2021, when the thing started in 2019, I mean 2009. And it was very cheap then, but the cheaper prices, yes, I still got into it when it was cheaper than now, but it was a lot cheaper in 2009, 2010. I heard it was like dirt cheap in 2013, you know. And these are things, and I want to say around 2013, that's when I first started to even notice about Bitcoin. But I thought it was too good to be true. I think I detailed that before, my situation as to why I got into Bitcoin so late. Nonetheless, though, there are folks I know who own nothing but altcoins, or at least I don't know if that is the case now. And I'm gonna talk about some of these maxis too, because a lot of them be lying. A lot of them are lying. A lot of them are just like me. 90% of their portfolio is in Bitcoin, and maybe 5% is in alts, and they also have 5% in memes. I have 0% in memes, but I do have some altcoins. And I want to say 90% of my portfolio. If it's not 90, at the very least, it's 80. But 80 to 90% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin, which leaves either 10 to 20% in alts, zero in memes. I don't mess with memes. As I stated the last time I talked about altcoins, the reason why I don't like memes is number one, there are a lot of them are pump and dumps. And that's the same for alts as well. A lot of alts are pump and dumps. Now, there are folks who try to pump and dump Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is so, like I said, unfuckwittable, excuse my language, or whatever word I used before. But if you pump and dump Bitcoin, you're gonna mess yourself up. If you pump and dump an alt, you might be able to get away with it for some time before you start messing yourself up. If you pump and dump a meme, you can either go big or totally lose every freaking thing. It's a zero sum game when you're messing with memes, other than the fact that as much as I love to joke around and be funny and silly and all that stuff, I take my investment journey very seriously. I'm not gonna just throw something into a Pepe coin or a cock or whatever coin simply because it's silly. I'm not gonna throw some money into that and then have to time the market to for it to be right. Now, have I seen memes pump up to like the most I've seen was like a million? Like one of those most pump and dump memes where it went up to a million, and then after that, if you didn't withdraw right then and there, it went down to 6 cents. That's how volatile it is, y'all. That's how volatile, but no, that's how these pump and dump schemes work. Like the people behind it or someone within the market decides we're going to inflate this thing to make it seem like it's hot shit, you know? And then when it gets to a value like $1 million or a little more than that, when it gets to that value, or even in a couple 100,000, right? But let's just say a million. Let's just use that. When it gets to that, if you don't cash out then and there, you're done, son. You're done. You're done. You done put all this money into it, and now you have over $1 million, or at least $1 million, and you're like, I'm gonna hodl cock. I'm gonna hold this cock for dear life. And yes, there's literally a cock coin. CO, I think it's COQ. That's how, but that's the meme of it. There's a whole community. Oh, I have some cock. I never thought I'd be making money with the cock. I never thought I'd be some holding some. Pause all of that. That's number one. Number two, like this is the type of stuff that I don't think is. I think it's funny if it's like if you were like that sound like some SNL type shit. Like honestly, if they were to make fun of Bitcoin and all and the cryptocurrencies, because I would see them do that, they would be like coin because childish bullshit like that, you know? But like I said, I take my investment journey very seriously. This is not a joke to me. Now you can have fun. It's fun to plan out your future. It's fun to think, wow, I can achieve the things that I've always dreamed of now, or that I thought were just going to be dreams because the world economy is going to shite. And I thought I was never going to be able to own a home. I thought I was never going to be able to do this. Thought I was never be able to travel or do whatever I want with my money, right? I will never be able to pay off this debt. I will never be able to finally own a business, own land. but I have the possibility to do that because of Bitcoin and because of smart investments within the altcoin universe, right? The meme coins, again, you might hit $1 million, be lucky with your cock, but the moment your cock goes down, your cock ain't nothing but a little. You got a little cock. You know what I'm saying? All that money you put in there, all that cock you was holding all in your mouth, it's now gone. It's gone. You know. So it's like that's the severity and dangers of the meme market. And I know I've seen this comment lately. A lot of folks are like memes are getting bad reps. No, they're not. No, they are not. You have people who are taking the meme market seriously so they can pump and dump, but memes aren't getting a bad rap. They're getting exactly what they are that they're designed to do. Be silly, not be serious, be a get rich quick scheme. That's literally what memes are. Some alts are like that. Some alts are like that. And like I said, the reason why I say 70%, not because alts operate in the same vein as memes, which they can, but they don't. It's just they don't hold any value. A lot of them, out of that 70%, I'm going to say nearly 90% of that 70%, if this all makes sense, but 90% is not because these alts operate like memes. It's because they just simply don't hold enough value to my understand. Oh, not my preference. Let me put it that way. My preference of value. They just don't hold that much value at all. There are some altcoins, like some altcoins that I have that I can't even use within the United States. You know what I'm saying? They can only be used in other countries, and not in not other countries, like every country out that isn't the US. It's other specific countries. If I have zero desire to visit these countries, and it's not even like all of that country, let's just say Dubai is right. Like if I own some pie, right, that's a cryptocurrency, right? If I own some pie, that's one of the altcoins. Dubai is they have like a small community in Dubai where it's like, yeah, we accept pie here. We like pie, this, that, and the third. We will allow you to spend your pie and use your pie to purchase things. You can own land with pie. You can buy whatever with pie, goods and services, trade pie, get paid in pie. Again, that's a small pocket. Now, granted, that's a lot of these places within the United States, even in case with Bitcoin, what's going on with El Salvador in El Salvador right now. You know, it's called Bitcoin country, but it's one place in El Salvador, I believe El Zonte, is where Bitcoin is really like the ecosystem there, you know? But it's not all of El Salvador yet, I believe. Um, I could be mistaken, but again, it's doing a lot more for the Bitcoin market than the United States where I reside. I was hearing some good things about Texas, how they seem to be one of the only Bitcoin friendly countries. Not countries. Some of y'all think Texas is the country the way they operate, but one of the only Bitcoin friendly states within the US. But again, I'm still here in America. And I heard little pockets here and there about California. I gave up on my California dreams years ago. You know, the only people keeping it alive, kinda, is my man Blue, Shafiq Hussein, my girl Jamita Rose, and a bunch of other cats that make great music over there. Shout out to my girl Jack Davy, you know, the group J Davy and stuff, or the former group J Davy. It's a bunch of musicians actually that I like, and they all reside in like this pocket of California that makes great music. So it's like they're the only reasons keeping my Cali dreams sort of alive. Everybody else, man, that shit died a long time ago, man. Sorry for the language, y'all. But anyways, uh, I think I've gone on long enough. I just want to say that because it's almost 40 minutes. So I just want to say that if you are getting into the altcoins, just know what you're getting into. And that's even with Bitcoin, that's with any investment. Now, I don't hold any investment in anything outside of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. The only business that I do want to keep, I do eventually want to invest in is MicroStrategy, which is, a business owned by Michael Saylor. But Michael Saylor is a big Bitcoin maxi. He's one of the maxis I'm talking about that I follow, right? So it's about six now, not five, about six. Either or, he's definitely a very wealthy maxi. He can buy 69,000 dollars, or even when it goes higher, let's just say 70K worth of Bitcoin. He can do that. He don't need to buy a fraction of it like I do when I'm, purchasing Bitcoin. But the more fractions you build up, obviously you get to build up to that high value, you know? So a lot of people don't like to play the long game. And I'm not here to force anybody to do so. I know my patience, I know my level of patience and my level of just being able to say, okay, I'm a DCA today. That's another term you might hear. Again, DCA just means dollar cost average, meaning that you're going to measure how much money you're going to purchase. It could be the same amount, it could be a different amount, but DCA just means you, you know, measure the amount of money you're putting into Bitcoin, or the amount of sacks you're going to buy, and then you measure that value out with whatever. See, I told you I'm terrible with these explanations. At least with DCA, dollar cost averaging, pretty much is what it stands for, and that's what you do with when you don't have 69,000, at least $69,000 to just purchase one full Bitcoin. When you don't have that, or however, I think it's maybe 70K. I'm gonna look right now just to give y'all somewhat of an accurate reading of how much it is. I'm going into my trust wallet right now. That's another term. A trust wallet is, you can download this on your phone, and it's where you can keep your um your investments. Okay, I'm not going to show y'all my screen, but I'm on my trust wallet right now, and it says as of right now, Bitcoin is 69,399 and 64 cents. So that is the value at this moment. And my phone charger just fell. At this moment, that is the value of Bitcoin. Nonetheless, that is teetering on the 70K mark. If you don't have 70K in your bank account, at least 70K, or at least two times that, three times that within your bank account, that's the price for one Bitcoin. That amount I just read to you right now. That's the price for one Bitcoin. If you don't have that, don't fret, because I definitely don't have that. I'm telling y'all right now, you're not looking, and you'll see it. You'll see the crib. Yeah, y'all see that. These are not. These are the pictures written, drawn. They're supposed to be me. Well, they are me, but a couple of my students did this. I'm on a teacher's salary, y'all. Y'all see that? You know what I'm saying? Y'all see the pictures. Y'all see the bed, no sheets on it. That's because I'm doing laundry. But you see the busted closet, you know what I'm saying? That won't close all the way. Yeah. But no, like, you see how I'm living. I'm not living like I got 69,000 in my account. Even if I did, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't be up in this place. I tell you that right now. Give me some money on this motherfucker. But nonetheless, I don't have $69,000 or 70K in my bank account. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I don't have that in my bank account right now. That wasn't the amount of that money. That number I read to you once again was not the amount of money I made off of Bitcoin. No, it was the price of one Bitcoin. But you can purchase fractions of that and still make good money. Still be able to, if you are going to take profit and be able to pay off some debts, or pay off this, or do whatever you can with said money, you know? Or you can continue to hodl like I do and others do, like the maxis that I knew do. HODL. Again, hold on for dear life. You can continue to hold your Bitcoin on the Trust wallet, on other wallets as well. I said get off them exchanges, but if you want to keep them on exchanges and stuff, you can do so. I only use exchanges when I want to sell. And I hold most of my altcoin, or at least I want to say one of the altcoins that I use. Um, and I don't even purchase this altcoin. I get it for free because of the internet browser that I use produces this coin. Um, I use Brave browser. They produce BAT. BAT is one of their altcoin, right? Right. But I don't even have that like stored within my trust wallet. If I do, I have a little bit. Most of it is on the exchange. If the exchanges muck up and they want to take that to because the exchange is like a bank, they can take your money. You might think you have X amount of money in your bank, but you really don't have X amount of money in your bank. That is their money. That is their money. Which means if you're like, I have $80,000, I could buy Bitcoin right now in your bank right now. Good for you. You can buy one Bitcoin right now. But if your bank decides that, nah, we're not going to allow this, guess what? You're not going to get it. If your bank decides, yeah, we're $80,000 in the hole, guess what? That 80K that you have in your bank account right now, we're going to use that to pay our debts. Sorry, it is FDIC insured, right? You'll get it back eventually. That's what banks can do, and that's what these exchanges can do as well. They say they're not this, that, and the third, but crypto exchanges are pretty much crypto banks. That's what they are. Whereas if you have you can be your own bank and have either a mobile app, such as a Trust wallet, such as a Coinbase wallet, um, or you can get actual or hardware wallet like a Ledger, and there's other ones as well. You can have these wallets and be your own bank. Therefore, number one, you're not paying interest on your own shit, obviously. Number two, you decide when you want to cash out, how your investments or how your money is being spent. If there are certain debts you have to pay off, obviously you get to decide, okay, I want to sell off this so I can be able to pay off this debt, instead of a bank saying, nah, I know this bank account says your name on it. I know this is the money that you worked hard to get to leave in this account, but it's still not your money. It's our money. And if we want to take it to pay off some debts or pay some investors, we will do so. And you will just have to sit there and take it. It's insured. We will eventually pay you back for it when we feel like paying you back for it. And now if you get, and for a fact, if you're someone that is owed money, and you gave someone and you foolishly gave someone who was unreliable in paying you back, but if you foolishly gave them, hey, just pay me back whenever you feel like it, 9 times out of 10, that person is not going to pay you back because they're never going to feel like it. But yeah, I've gone on long enough. Again, when I talk about this stuff, I always got to ish on banks. But as I said it before, if you invest in the right alts, you can make some good money. You can take that money and pay off debt with it. You can take that money and have that be a springboard for you to get into Bitcoin, to be able to purchase Bitcoin. You know, don't just shit on alts because you're privileged enough to buy Bitcoin at $69,000 a pop, 70K a pop. However, like when the highest I think it went up was like 73K. It's went down some bit, you know. But again, like just because you're privileged enough to even make that investments per pop, per bit, you know what I'm saying? Per bitty, doesn't mean that everybody within the market is that privileged. The higher the price goes, obviously the harder it gets for people to even purchase this thing per Bitcoin. And I don't understand why people don't see that. And with that being said, yes, alts operate in that way, but they're a hell of a lot cheaper. If you're telling me there's an altcoin that is only $100. So let's just say there's an altcoin that's worth $100 per coin, whereas Bitcoin is damn near 70K per coin. I'm gonna obviously tell if I am a financial advisor that wants to see my client do well, I'm gonna say put a couple $100 within that $100 altcoin. That's worth a damn, obviously. And then once it gets to this high price, obviously that you put $300 in this $100 coin, it shot up to this. Now this price has shot up to about $300. You do the math. That's a good a bit amount of change you just made because this value of the coin shot up and you put $300 into it before it was even $300, but you got more, got it good enough, and do that math with any other altcoin that is worth a damn. Again, worth a damn. A lot of these other coins will try to sell you on we're so cheap, buy us because they're only a couple cents. You know what I'm saying? I think the BAT coin that I get for free, it's like $13, not $13. It's like 13 cents, right? I get it for free. Now, if you get some free altcoins, take advantage. Take advantage, take advantage, take advantage. And there are free ways you can get some Bitcoin as well. Satoshi, let me just put out, you can get some Satoshis as well. Ways that I've tested out for myself that are legit. So I know, and I wouldn't lie to y'all. I mean, if I was lying to y'all, a lot of y'all wouldn't be subscribing. A lot of y'all wouldn't trust me with the things that I say. I'm not lying about stuff, and if I were to tell you, I'm always truthful about things. And also, I always share to you that the mess ups and the muck ups that I've gone through, or if I'm like, yeah, I experienced this bad thing, I can't in good faith tell anybody to do this thing that I did and I messed up in. But if they still decide to do it, that's on them. But it's almost an hour with this situation, and I do have other topics to talk about. So we are going to get into a commercial break, and then we'll get into the next topic. Stay tuned.